Hey, I'm Grant. Welcome to Digression Bar, episode 21. I am joined by...
I'm Ellie.
Ellie, what's up? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been at school out in California.
So you're back for like 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
So you came in late, right? Why did you stay late?
Just because that's the way the flights worked out. So the way the flights worked out was like the last 5 flights of the day all went through Las Vegas, and which all was on like a late flight. So if I would have left earlier, I would have gotten in at the same time anyway.
So you had a layover in Las Vegas.
I did, yeah.
Likely story. Came home, no money. Okay. So didn't you have to do like some job with the graduation though?
Oh yeah, I did. So I volunteered to work graduation. That was interesting. It wasn't hard work, and I got paid quite a bit of money for it. So
Was that it? Because I was going to ask you, like, why would you do this?
yeah, they paid me $15 an hour, which is a lot of money for the very little amount of work that they required me to do.
Well, I'm sure it's like you said, it's like pretty early. They need people to get up. So it's like, well, we're Stanford. We can pay you. Just get up and show up on time.
Yeah, one of my jobs was to give wake-up calls to people who were supposed to be there to make sure that they were going to be on time.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
And one person he's like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to be there.
I'm sure it happens all the time where it's like, oh, yeah, I want $15 an hour. And then your wife's like, I don't want to get up right now.
Yeah, I had to get up pretty early. I had to get up because it's, I also I don't have a bike. And so I had to walk to the stadium, which took me about 40 minutes.
Wow.
To walk all the way over there at like 6 a.m. in the morning.
So cool. What else has been up? What have you been doing over in Stanford? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you're playing? And what? You have a whole list of topics, I'm told, so I just want you go run with it.
Run with it? Okay,
just go run with it. What do you want to talk?
Main topic I got to talk about. I've been playing Morrowind for the first time.
Is it Morrow or Morrow?
I always thought Morrowind, but I guess it could be Morrowind.
Is it voice acted? No, there's
some voice acting, but not very much.
Is it voice acted like...
It's voice acted by the same voice actors from Oblivion.
Okay, but is it like speech or is it like, oh, there's grunts and stuff? Like
there's some speech. Like if you pass by someone on the street, they'll be like, Outlander scum. They're always calling you scum because they hate people from like other places. But when you actually give quests and stuff, it's just text. They don't tell you about it.
Okay, I'm used to that format. Yeah, makes sense. So what's your rant?
Okay, so I have a lot. So I really enjoy Morrowind. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. But there's a lot of people out there who claim that Morrowind is like the best Elder Scrolls game, and I think that that's a fine opinion if it's your favorite or if you think it's the best. But some of the stuff that people say is better, I'm sorry, I just really strongly disagree with. So in combat, all of your actions in combat have a chance of occurring. So like you can fail a spell, you can fail hitting someone. And that's just kind of frustrating, like, especially because another mechanic in the game is that when you're running, you use up your stamina. And so if you don't run, you walk really, really slowly. But then of course you want to run everywhere, but then of course you're always out of stamina, which means you either have to drink a potion to get your stamina back, or you're just going to like fail all of your attacks. And I think that that's just tedious. I don't think it adds anything to the game, but I feel like that's something that people are like, combat in Morrowind is so deep. And I'm like, no, I think it's just more tedious than like combat in Skyrim. So
the thing that bugs me though is because isn't it still like skill based? Like you have to hit your target, you personally as a player, and then you have to roll to hit your target.
Yeah,
and that's what I think is dumb. Is like you might miss 9 out of 10 arrows because it's far away, and then hit it, and then it's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
So
what's annoying is like you can fail alchemy a lot, which is also annoying because it's like, oh man, I finally have this like rare ingredient, and I want to make this really cool potion, but oh, you failed. Failed to make it, so you wasted the ingredient. And I understand like the concept of having a chance, like that's very like traditional D&D kind of stuff, but I just feel like the game is more fun without it. And I think it was a very good improvement in Oblivion and Skyrim when they got rid of that stuff. But that's something I've been reading on Reddit lately, where I feel like people are very nostalgic for Morrowind, and that's fine, but I feel like they forget what it's like to actually play Morrowind, or specifically what it's like to play as a new character. Because I've heard once you get to be a high level, you're so overpowered anyway.
Same with Skyrim. And I think it's funny that you mentioned this, though, because that issue comes back in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Like, because they use the same system as Skyrim, but stamina is only used for power attacks in Skyrim. But in Fallout 4, it's your AP for VATS, and everything is like I would say 3/4 of a sprint away. And it's like, I don't want to walk everywhere. But if you sprint, then you just have to awkwardly wait for it to recharge. It's just like, this doesn't work. But again, it's like everything's like literally like 3/4 of a bar of sprint.
Yeah.
Which is like, so you always get there. It's like, I could wait because I have some, but just like, yeah, it's like awkward.
Well, and one thing I do think is interesting is like when I played Skyrim, I never really used potions that much because you don't really need them unless you want to. And it is interesting in Morrowind, you have to use like potions because obviously I'm not going to use my magic because I play a mage, a dark elf.
As you do in Elder Scroll games.
Yeah.
You play spell sword or sneaky archer. I feel like you go one of those two ways. You have to.
But I don't want to use my magic to like restore my health because I want my magic to fight. So then I just use a potion, or I have to use a restore magic potion, or I mean, I'm having a lot of fun playing it, but I definitely don't think that it's fine if people if it's their favorite, but I feel like a lot of people are forgetting what it's like to actually play that game.
I think some people, it's like it really scratched their itch if they like more of a survival based game where it's really slow, methodical. Like I know I like Skyrim with some of the mods on, and that really does give it slows the game down a lot. And in a way, it's kind of fun to be like, I'm going to walk over there, and gives things meaning. But on the other hand, it does get super tedious really quickly, where it's just like...
And I like in Skyrim because you have that choice. You can put a mod on and choose to play that way. Another thing is Morrowind doesn't have a lot of fast travel. So you can fast travel from major city to major city through like you can either fast travel through the Mages Guild, but not every city has a Mages Guild, or you can take a Silt Strider, but those only go to like close cities next door. Or they have some spells that will teleport you to the nearest temple. But it is kind of annoying because there's a lot of places I have to go a lot, but I can't fast travel. And I just feel like, again, I just don't feel like it adds anything to the game. I just think it makes the game more tedious. Because it's just like, oh, kill my 20th rat on my way to this, place I have to go all the time.
Yeah. Mine was the same way when I did my thing with Skyrim, where it's like, at first it's super cool, and then you're like, I just have to walk back to town to sell my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to encounter a wolf?
Yeah.
Like, how a fireball?
Because so Morrowind also doesn't have, like, houses you can get. There's one house, you can join one of the great houses of Morrowind, and you can build a house that way, but other than that, you can't get, like, an official house, but you can. So none of the storage containers in Morrowind, respawn. So you can use any storage container to be like a permanent storage. But there's some people, like I looked online and they're like, oh, there's this person who you can go and easily steal their house. But their house is like way over here and you can't fast travel to it. I'm like, I'm not going to choose a house that like I can't fast travel to. They're going to have to spend 20 minutes walking to all the time.
Yeah.
Also, that being said, another interesting thing is storage containers have weight limits. So like in a basket, you can't put like a bunch of heavy stuff in a basket. And that's annoying because I've been currently using the Mages Guild in like the starting city as my house, but I'm running out of storage because I've like used up all of the storage area.
That's like kind of a cool mechanic though, in a way. Like if you had a house to be like, I need to buy a bigger house. Like I would never you don't have that issue in Skyrim. Like in Skyrim, you just need a chest.
Yeah.
And you can just make do. So yeah, that's so weird.
And apparently it's a glitch because, it's not a glitch, but dead bodies don't ever despawn and they don't have a weight limit. So that's like a way to get around it, is to kill someone in your house and use them as storage.
That's been in Bethesda games for a while. I know, like it was also in Oblivion. Like one of the things you would do is you'd get the Dark Brotherhood horse, and you could only do this if you weren't in the Mages Guild, because apparently your horse joins whatever guild you're in. It's just a part thing. So you can't be in the Mages Guild because your horse is in the Mages Guild. And when you do this exploit where you kill the horse to put your stuff on it, you get ejected from the Mages Guild, which is a huge deal in that game.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're just Dark Brotherhood, you would just kill your horse, put it on its body, and the horse's thing is it resurrects. So that's how you'd get around that.
Yeah.
Same thing I think with like Fallout 3, you could do that with dog meat, where you would kill him, put his stuff on, and then you walk.
Yeah, that's another thing I feel that I know a lot of people, complain that they dumbed down Skyrim, but the fact that you can have a follower in Skyrim that's actually useful, it was such a game changer in Skyrim. Yeah, I feel like. Which
is annoying because like I remember that used to be a big thing, and like I didn't play it, but like old school like D&D, one of the things you would do and have to justify is, we can't take on that dungeon, let's hire like a guard.
Yeah.
But obviously then you have to like pay him to come along with you. And I feel like Skyrim kind of scratched that itch where you're like, I want to bring someone.
Yeah.
And it was like a big deal if you got like a strong follower.
Yeah, because some of the followers were better. I remember you can get a follower in the College of Winterhold and they're like good, but they die really easily because they don't wear armor and stuff.
Yeah, and it's too bad because like having like a party could be cool. Like it's not a full fleshed out Dragon Age, but having someone like, they'll heal me. That's a cool perk or something. Like,
yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, or like, hey, you're the range guy. Or honestly, even like the the grand by zero guy, the fact that he would just carry a torch for you was useful because the game was dark. So he would just carry a torch and run away in combat. So he never died because he ran away, which was actually a huge perk. And then two, he always had this permanent torch. He would just walk around with it. Yeah, it's like you think it was annoying, and then you look back, it's like, man, that was super useful.
I will have to say something about Morrowind so far. I have not felt like I needed a torch. They have torches in the game, but I've not felt like I needed to like have one, which I know in Skyrim and Oblivion, like you always had to have a light. Otherwise it just felt so dark.
Which is something I liked. Like when I did my survival thing, I made a point to go and use the torches instead of the light spells because I felt it was so much more immersive. Like having my torch, like going through caves because I had like a darkness mod on too. I like that stuff. I like having those trade-offs. I feel like, and maybe I'd tell me if Morrowind is like this, but I feel like they just, in Elder Scrolls, they take all these mechanics that kind of work, but they fight against each other and they just mush them into a game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my issue where it's like, hey, here's this torch and lighting system. It doesn't really matter. And you can always just take this and completely get rid of it. Or like I said, like in Fallout 4, they have all these things that just like actively fight each other. Like, here's a story that's all about this big personal character and has very important things to their history and who they are. But also go do whatever you want. Yeah. And those clash.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true even, I'm sure, way back then. Just like you were saying where it's like, you want me to sit and walk here and walk to the next town, but you don't give me fast travel. You don't give me any solution. It's just waste my time. It's like, which is too bad because it's fun.
And as far as I understand, I haven't seen any mounts in the game either. Like you can't buy a horse, as far as I know. Maybe you can, and I don't know yet, but yeah, which is another thing. At least if you could buy a horse and could go faster. One
thing I have changed my stance on in Elder Scroll games is there's a lot of stuff that, like Maik, you know who that is? That wandering Khajiit?
Yeah.
It's like a big Easter egg. He will comment on things like that people have requested that they haven't done. And I thought, oh, that's funny. Why do people want a crossbow? But now after playing Elder Scrolls games, like he's got some good points. Screw you, Bethesda. Like it's been like how many games and it's that hard to put something in like that people clearly want, or like it seems like just play your own game. Like clearly people want this thing, but I feel like it's just too many chefs. You know, making one thing.
I actually had a very interesting, because there is some stuff I do like about Morrowind that I think is better than some of the other games. Interesting is that their tutorial is incredibly short. It's like 2 minutes. And I have to say, that's really nice because I've gone through the tutorial in Skyrim and Oblivion so many times and it's so long. Although, I will have to say one thing I never thought of before is that the tutorials in Oblivion and Skyrim do kind of set up the main story. You're like, okay, I understand what's happening. In Morrowind, I have no idea what the main story is about. And I just don't really feel like I have a connection to it. I'm just going around doing whatever I want.
I think Oblivion had the best because it was like you could just save at the end. And Skyrim kind of automated that, but it wasn't really that bad. Ultimately, you left just go do what you want. You know what the plot is, so it's there if you want it. But it's not Skyrim where it's like, follow me, we're going there right now. And it's like, if you don't do this, well, then you can't get into Winterhold or whatever.
Because I feel like in Skyrim too, you almost have to do the main quest up until the point where you can get the shout.
That's a big one.
Where you get dragons to spawn and stuff like that.
You basically, I would say the tutorial lasts until you go to the Greybeards, and it's like, I don't want to do that every time. Like, Skyrim really needs like a new game plus, I feel like. Like, let me start a new character. I have all the dragon shouts like unlocked, like they're in the menu but grayed out, so I still have to spend souls or something, so I don't have to like go walk up the mountain or something
to like go and
I still gotta kill dragons. Fine, that's fine, but you know, I don't know.
Another thing about Morrowind is there, obviously because it's before Oblivion, they have the whole attribute system, which I actually ended up making a new character because I kind of forgot how those worked, and I'm glad that they got rid of that in Skyrim because I feel like the attributes they were, I don't know. I just don't feel like they added actual depth to the game. I feel like they added more complexity to your character, but it wasn't in the way you wanted, I feel like.
I can see that, like, if you didn't really know how to make a good D&D system, where it's like, oh, we'll just put points into strength and you have a charisma thing, but there's not necessarily things backing up those stats that are useful.
Well, that's what, when I made my first character, I had forgotten that was a thing. And so like I'm a mage, and so all of your spells, most of your spells, the schools of magic are governed by willpower, but I'd kind of forgotten that. So I was like, oh, they're all governed by intelligence, because I knew that was like tied to magic. And so then I was like failing all my spells because I had no willpower attribute. And so then I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll make a new character that has a higher starting willpower.
But I would guess because of the Skyrim and Oblivion had so much more customization, I bet potions and spells are better in Morrowind. Particularly, I bet potions are, because a potion in Skyrim, it can be anything, and they all end up just being like fluff. But I bet in Morrowind, since it's supposed to be a potion, it's much more like, this will heal you 20 points, and that's good, instead of heals you for 1 and gives you 2 stamina, and also 3% ice resistance for 20 minutes. Like, okay, cool. I'll never use this.
I've heard that once you get to up enchanting and stuff, you can enchant some really insane, like, game-breaking stuff
in Skyrim?
In Morrowind.
Okay.
You can enchant stuff that is just like... they also have a levitate spell, which is pretty interesting, because Morrowind doesn't have...
I've heard a lot about that.
Because Morrowind, you don't have to, like, load in their cities. You just walk in. And so, like, I think that's why they can get rid of... Or that's why they, like, can't have the levitate spell in Oblivion, because then you could just, like, go over to city walls. But, yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of places that they require you to levitate to. But it's kind of a fun mechanic. Cool. Apparently, I only can levitate for a very short amount of time because I don't have a lot of magic yet. But it's kind of cool because apparently if you're, like, fighting a hard enemy, you can just levitate above them, and just, like, do ranged attacks and they can't hit you.
That's funny. That's really cool because, like, I want that kind of sandbox out of Elder Scrolls where it's, like, fun, awesome magic and crazy stuff. So that's really cool. I feel like it'd be fun to play someday. So especially I feel like...
It is a lot of fun. I'm definitely having a lot of fun.
Yeah, the one thing Skyrim doesn't scratch is, like, there's no real Elder Scrolls lore. Like, there's some with the main story, but other than that, it's just, like, kind of fluff. Whereas I felt like Oblivion was a lot more like, these are the gods, these are, like, the Daedric stuff. I agree,
and I like that stuff a lot.
And I know just reading from early on in Oblivion, because Oblivion is 10 years or 5 years after Morrowind. Yeah, so there's that direct link where they talk, because you beat it, right?
Yeah.
You beat it? They always talk about, like, the explosion of, like, Red Mountain or something, and it's like, oh, these are events. Where in Skyrim, it's like, okay, cool. I think the ultimate sum of Skyrim is like, I prevented that thing from happening, but the real world-changing event, that's going to happen after the game. Like the whole Empire and the elves and all that and the Stormcloaks. I wasn't around for that. Whereas it felt like in Oblivion, it's like, you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
That being said, there's one thing that really changed my opinion on Elder Scrolls games, and it was this quote where it's like, this is my summary of Oblivion. You watch your king die, you go get his heir, you escort him, you go get, like, the armor that he needs to battle gods, he turns into a dragon and kills evil god, you go on with your life. It's like, you aren't just the NPC in Skyrim, you're the NPC follower. And it's like, yeah, he kind of am. He got all the cool stuff.
That's actually a really cool point.
Yeah. And it's just really like, cool. Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that I was around for it, but it's like, that really is kind of how you look at the game more.
Because that is different in Morrowind. You are like the like reincarnated person.
I don't know. What's the plot of Morrowind?
I don't know a whole lot yet because I'm trying to be kind of spoiler free, but I know that there's this prophecy that there is a person who is going to come back and, like, reunite all of Morrowind and, like, kick out the Empire and kick out all the foreigners. And apparently you are that person.
So you haven't beat it.
I'm not. Oh no, I've not beat it yet.
But I thought you were saying, like, you beat the main quest, but not the rest.
No. Well, I know from playing, like, Skyrim and doing the DLC and Oblivion that I know Red Mountain something happens in it. Yeah. With that.
And just I remember, like, going on the wiki and seeing, like, there's so much more lore behind what was around in Morrowind, whereas it's Easter eggs in Skyrim. Like, people will put, like, oh, did you see in this quest? There's, like, dwarven remains. These are the only dwarven remains up in, like, I think they're the only, like, dwarven, like, remains, like, physical remains up until, like, one thing there in Skyrim. And it was, like, a big deal, even, like, up into Oblivion or something like that. And it seemed like, oh, there's actually interesting reasoning in the world why everything was here. Whereas, like, Skyrim was just like, oh, isn't it funny? Here's someone who got frozen in ice. It's like, that's funny. Like, same with, like, Fallout. Like, that's neat. But that doesn't make a better world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've very fallen off of Bethesda games. Like, they're like, I'll play it if it's around. But I also want to go back to, like, something like that because that seems like a lot of fun.
I actually saw that you can, because Daggerfall and Arena aren't on Steam, but you can download them from the Bethesda site. So I'm hoping after I play Morrowind, I want to play those too.
That'd be cool. It'd be fun. I want to go back and play a lot of games like that and, like, the old Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
And just, like, try and re-experience them. So that'd be cool because I never played them, but
yeah,
I'm sure
Morrowind's
I'd like it.
Fun. It's actually, I think Morrowind, it has a lot more factions too, and it's kind of fun because you have these houses that you can join, but you can't join more than one, and they, like, don't like each other or, like, kind of fight. And it's kind of interesting because, like, I joined the house that's, like, 4 mages, and it's cool. I can see how Morrowind does have more depth to it if you, like, it's more in your face and it's more obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing about Morrowind, very rarely do they ever mark stuff on your map, so you actually do have to go and ask NPCs for directions, and then when you're going, you have to be like, okay, what were their directions again? Okay, turn right here, and then, like, follow their legitimate directions.
See, I feel like I want to play a game like that as well, but that skirts a line where it's like it needs to be, like, a certain way to be useful.
Yeah.
Like, if you do it every time, it sucks. Or, like, if a good example is, like, that's fine if they have, like, signposts and, like, you could actually, like, ask directions. It would really suck if it's just, oh, I'm lost. And you go in a city, it's like, no one will tell me I can't physically ask where's the next town.
Yeah, that's what I
like. There's no system to support it. Then
I've come across that where sometimes they give really good directions and it's fine, and then other times they're like, go to this place, but that place isn't a clickable link, and so I can't ask directions about where that place is, and I go and try and ask several people and I can't find it, and then so I admit I usually end up just going and looking up online where it is, and then I can walk there. And I'm sure there's some NPC that will tell you where that place is, but I just don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy the game and just kind of move forward and not spend all of my time. I have gotten lost quite a few times though, where I've been like following a sign, and the sign says go this way, and then like I miss the next sign, I don't see it, and so I keep going in the wrong direction, and then I'm like way far away.
See, that's fun. Like that's what the experience I want to have, because it's like, oh yeah. It's those fun little, like, actually, like, walking around in the wilderness. So, or you actually find stuff that's, like, really neat.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like in the later ones, like, there's almost too much fluff. Like, there's so many kind of interesting stuff. There's so many 6 out of 10 things.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be, like, I would go in Oblivion, I would just, like, get lost, wander around. It's like, that's a unicorn. I've never seen a unicorn. And I walk up to it. I can mount it. That's awesome. And then I rode it to my town. And I got off. It starts murdering me. It's like, what? That's just cool. It's just neat. Like, I found something entirely unique and awesome. Whereas I feel like in Fallout or Skyrim, it would just be, this is kind of interesting, just a neat little story, but ultimately this is contained and doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
But on that note of like exploring and writing stuff down, I kind of want to go back and also replay the original Myst trilogy just to see how that is, because I feel like I could actually sit down and like understand it and solve it.
Because I know as a kid I tried to play it, but I just couldn't figure it out because I was a kid.
There's definitely stuff I had to like look up because I just didn't understand, or like a lot of times it was something like puzzle is in world A, solutions in world B, and that's fine. But as a kid, I couldn't understand how to go from A to B. So even though I knew that was there, it's got to restart the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you hope you can make. Like I couldn't get to the points where I can make the connection I needed to make. It was like I have greater system, even if I could like solve some of the puzzles. But I really think those games are cool. It'd be fun to sit down. Like I said, I want to have something where I could sit down and like write stuff down. Particularly, I want to have like a horror game like that. I was playing Silent Hill 3, and that was a big point I made where it's like, I want to sit down and have to actually like sketch stuff out. Like I did a puzzle in Silent Hill 3 that was like really good, where I had to sit down. It was like a logic puzzle where it was like there's a keypad of 9 numbers, and it was all like how they are in relation to each other with this big riddle. And I'd go sit down and solve it, and basically you had to sit and spend 10 minutes converting it from that to a Boolean logic puzzle. And then you had solved that. And it's like, oh, I did it. I got it on my first try, and that was fun. And I want more stuff like that.
That's really cool.
So,
well, another game I've been playing is Half-Life 1. And I mean, that obviously doesn't have puzzles on that level, but I forgot that it's not like a puzzle game, but it does have small little like puzzles you have to do, and that's kind of fun. That game is completely the opposite of Morrowind. Your like starting speed that you move is so fast. You're just like I'm just like flying all over the place because you move so fast.
Because I don't know the order, but it was on like, I want to say that was the Quake engine.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's what Quake is. Quake is just Doom with jumping.
Yeah,
and that's the main point. You're supposed to fly around basically through the air, jumping, firing rockets, and you like rocket jump and fly. So yeah, it's meant for that. And then they made the Source engine, and that became Counter-Strike and all that. Yeah. So I totally get that. Yeah. Especially because like it's just fun. I heard that game's really hard.
I'm playing on easy, and even easy, I'm fine. Easy is like not. I definitely have to pay attention when I'm playing, and Because
I assume it plays like Doom, where it's like you don't get a set amount of health pickups.
Yeah.
And it's all supposed to be hard, so it's replayable. Like you're supposed to play these levels like at least tens of times, and then memorize where everything is, and then that's how you get good.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff where if you know to go through this vent, you can get like extra health or extra ammo, but if you don't know to go through that, then you miss that.
I don't know if I sent it to you. There's a really good video someone had on like all the obscure mechanics of Half-Life 1. Like a big one was they have a smell system on how stuff works. So like if you kill enemy, they become a corpse, and the corpse smells, and that will make human allies go away from that. And certain enemies can be attracted stronger to that.
That's interesting.
And they'll react. And they'll say, like, for example, if you get blood on you, your humans will be like, you stink. And that's a way of saying, like, hey, you're being more attracted to certain monsters. Particularly, I guess there's the ones that are blind, but they can smell well. And it was like something like, I've never played Half-Life, but it was a cool video.
That's really
on
interesting.
Stuff like that. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can dig that up. It was really like, oh, I didn't think of Half-Life like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Because, like, I've been playing, and there's definitely been... Like, I thought that I was being pretty good about trying to explore, like, every area. But there's definitely areas that I've, like... scene that I missed, and I'm like past the point where I can get to them, but it's like some room that had health in it that I'm like, oh, I just can't figure out how to get in there.
I feel like Elder Scroll games in particular broke me of exploring, because it's just like I'll just look it up on the wiki after if it matters, because there's so much stuff that I kind of need, but nah. So even like when I'll go play like other games, I'm the same way. It's like I'll come back and explore it if I want to. At this point, I care more about having the experience, not getting everything. It's
I agree with that. When I was a kid, like I think that's what really kind of broke Fallout 3 for me is I got so into just hoarding and like taking everything possible because in that game, even if you're over encumbered, you can still move. So I was like, well, I have to take everything and it would take me hours to explore the vaults and stuff. But then I think now in Morrowind, I'm just like, I just want to like have fun playing the game. Like, and that's why like in Half-Life, I'm playing on easy because I just want to play the game and have fun. I don't want to, at this point, spend a bunch of time, trying to like kill all the Combine, which it's interesting because I mean I obviously haven't gotten very far in the game yet. Did not realize though, so far it seems like Black Mesa is the reason the Combine came. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought they just like came.
I can tell you what happened.
Black Mesa
I can tell you. I won't tell spoilers, but they're not the Combine. They're just aliens.
Oh, okay.
But what happens is they do that experiment about like teleportation.
Yeah.
And that was basically a giant like, my fine understanding, like flash. It was like, hey, what's that? Like, and that put us on the radar. And there's a very specific thing they talk about in Half-Life 2 is the Combine can't teleport. They can just shift dimensions.
Oh,
so that's what they really want is like, because they say it right at the beginning of Half-Life 2, like in the first level, it's like, hey, yeah, they really want our teleportation technology because they're this giant like dimensional empire. But once they get here, they have to physically fly from whenever they enter to like the planet, and that's a big like hindrance for them.
Yeah.
But humans found a way to teleport.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Half-Life 2 so long ago that I don't remember a lot of the like details of the story.
I don't know a lot, but there's a huge like source of lore, I guess, in Half-Life that's neat about their whole world and what all the species are that I did not know about.
Yeah.
So there's a whole big theory about like what G-Man is, and that I read that and that brought up a lot of things like I did not get that at all.
I actually think so in Half-Life 1 it's really interesting because like the G-Man, you know how because they don't have like cutscenes, but there's clearly spots where you see him off to the side. I think that's really cool.
In 2 or 1? Because I know it's definitely in 2.
It's in 1 too, yeah.
Yeah, I figured it'd be.
Yeah, well, you just like he's just like on like up looking at you through a window, but you could totally miss him if you were just like walking by. But
it's enough that it's almost not an Easter egg. Like there's plenty of times where you're meant to like catch him.
Yeah.
Or like you walk in a room too fast, like he's on TV. It's like like almost like it's meant to be that. It's a cool experience. So yeah. Yeah, it's another thing I want to play because it's like, oh, it's so neat, but it's all on my list of stuff to do. Unfortunately, though, like I list this off as like, and the games are like I want to play are like Morrowind, the massive RPG, Myst, the long puzzle game, all the Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
But this reminds me back, like it seemed like it could go through me like games as a kid, but I feel like of course I did because I played like Halo. It's like that's like an 8-hour campaign. You can play through all of Halo in like a weekend or like from 1 to 3.
I mean, I also feel like when we were kids, like during the summer, like when I was in middle school during the summer, I didn't do anything. So it's like I just had time to play video games all day long. So what else was I going to do, you know? And now I actually have stuff to do and whatnot. Yeah,
it's weird how I remember that because in a way, like you had so much time, but also not.
Yeah.
Like I know like it was so much easier because you had like an entire week where you do nothing but play video games. But then a lot of the times the games I thought I played a lot more realistic. It's like I played this in like an hour increment.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, like, sit down, like, I probably haven't played that much Halo 3 multiplayer.
Yeah, I had to...
Because, like, as an adult now, I can play it, like, consistently, like, 2 hours every weekend. And it adds up way much.
No, I agree with you. I feel like... I always felt like I played so much Halo 3 multiplayer, but I think that's just because we only ever played in, like, hour increments. Yeah. But,
so,
like...
Yeah, because we're probably, we play it every day, but in realistic, it's like we play 2 matches.
Yeah.
You know, whereas it's a lot easier to be like, I got nothing to do on Saturday. Let me go grind out that Crucible and I play like 30 or something.
30, yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah, I've been playing more Final Fantasy 15 and Destiny. Destiny's like my good thing because it's like the filler thing while I edit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, OSRS, I did a stream where I went and killed one of the harder bosses, and that was super fun. I was surprised at the turnout. It's this big boss that's like way more convoluted than it needs to be, where it's like I have like these graphs, and it's like he goes one of 4 different rotations, and if you get the rotation wrong that he's on and don't go to the right spot, he just starts melting you, and I'm just like panicking, and I bumble through it, and everyone's in the chat's like, go. It was fun.
That's cool. That sounds really cool.
I think you would like OSRS. Particularly, though, I think you would actually really like the OSRS Iron Man mode, which means you can't trade. Because I think that would scratch your itch of like Minecraft and like gathering stuff. Yeah. Because that's very much like, okay, I know I need to kill that boss, so then I need armor. And I get armor by killing this boss, but for that boss, I need to go make this weapon, so I need to make this armor, so I need to go mine. But to go mine, I have to go buy this pickaxe. And it's just like you gradually build up this goal and then you take it down. It's like, yes. And also, I feel like it's so easy to play on like the side with something else. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah, that's what I need. Because, like, Morrowind is, well, also part of it, Morrowind has to run on Windows, which means I have to restart my computer every time. And that's really annoying.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah, I have to, like, boot it into Windows.
How did you get Morrowind? Is it...
It's on Steam.
Did you say they released it on Xbox?
Oh, I heard. I haven't checked this. Because that's why I didn't play Morrowind for the longest time, was because I was hoping that they would release it on Xbox, and I didn't have Windows on my computer, so I couldn't play it. But I heard this year in 2018 they released it for Xbox. Like not like new, like I don't think it has achievements or anything, just like backwards compatible. Which is really kind of sucks because I would like to play it on Xbox, but I don't bring my Xbox with me to college.
Yeah.
So
Are there mods for Morrowind?
Yeah.
Because that'd be like the best thing is like to be able to go back and like, what do I need to install to make this not a pain?
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of like house mods that you can install to have like a house.
Because I could easily see that where it's like going back to Skyrim, like I'd probably want to play it on PC.
Yeah.
Just to like turn certain things off that I know I would want. Or things like I know like there's a lot of mods where it's like you need this. Because it just like it brings so many things in there, like just like quality of life. Yeah. And like there's a lot of games that are like that I hear that I'm blanking on right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. It's been super. I've been working on my website. I finally got back to it. I went to this React.js training. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like this 2-day workshop. So 16 hours, we learned React.js, which is this JavaScript library. But more specifically, it taught me all about JavaScript, which I went to work and I like had all these pages I support and I read them. It's like, I understand all this. I understand the HTML, the CSS, the HTML, the JSPs. I understand the controller, model view controller. It's like, awesome.
That's really cool.
And so now I'm going back to Ruby on Rails and it's like, my current site is okay. I wish I understood it better and I recognize like I don't have the technical knowledge to really improve it the way I want. But then I look at like how much effort I put into that. And then I was working through a chapter in that Ruby on Rails book and it's like type this command. You just generate an entire user database that can like store emails and strings and all this stuff. It's like that was 2 seconds. Like that was so much easier than so many things I've done. Like actually, and it's like I said add user. It has already calculated the query. Don't even worry about it. Like, and just like, I don't understand. Like, this is the way it should be. Like, it should be this easy, I feel like, but it's not sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on. Also, I'm hoping for us to do, I'd like tomorrow to do a like little live action short. I have an idea for what I want it to be, but I figure tomorrow we'll just like kind of like wing it out. We'll try and write a little script and we'll just see how it goes. I was able to put together like one idea I was kind of solid about.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'll think it'd be okay. I'd like to try to do a little more like that, but it's hard to fit in with everything else, especially because like that's something where like it eats a lot of time for very little product. Compared to like the podcast is, I'd say like 10, 20 minutes set up and then an hour where you just go and then it's done and it works.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to. But yeah, otherwise I don't know. Work's been keeping me really busy.
Yeah.
Podcast keeps me really busy. Been playing a ton of OSRs in my spare time.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15.
School keeps me busy. So.
Yeah, I mean, imagine. But I think I know you know what game I want you to finish.
Yeah.
On the way back, but no.
I'm only home for such a short amount of time. I don't think I have enough time to finish it. It's Bayonetta, but
yeah, it's.
I'd have to relearn too, like the combos, which I know I've forgotten.
It's tough. So what else is up? Anything else you want to talk about on your list? I didn't want to like cut you off. You have more.
Oh well, I mean more. I had a lot.
You kept saying like we got to talk about Morrowind. We got to talk about Morrowind.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff. Well,
I can tell you what we can talk about. We can talk about how you threw me under the bus when we went to go get like food at mom and dad's house, and you're like all of a sudden it's like. So about BLTs, and basically you and my dad just like had all the time to like sit and like dissect my argument and like you said this, Grant. Let me tell you why that's not right. It's like, I wasn't ready for this. You guys had like a year to prepare, and I just show up and it's like, let me tell you why you're wrong. It's like
it's because you are wrong.
Thanks.
I had a BLT for lunch today, and it was delicious.
I'm sure it was. I had soup, so we can eat pizza. I saved up my calories, and now it's sitting over there. And we're
nice
staring at it. But I don't know what else is up. I think I want to get more into cars. I feel like that'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Particularly, maybe this is because I've been playing a ton of Final Fantasy 15, which I have a car. But I feel like I like having things that have a lot of like meaning, and I put a lot of time, and I really try to make comfortable for me. And I feel like I've always wanted to do that with my car, but I never got around with it. But I'd love to get a car, and it's not about getting like the fastest or most powerful, but just being like, what can I put in here to make it more comfortable and like relatable for me? Because like it'd be nice to be like, Like right now, my car is like a 2007, which is right between the time where it's too old to have like an old cassette player where you could do a cassette to like audio input, but it's not new enough for an aux jack.
Yeah.
So I have CDs. I guess I could burn a CD, but I don't have any music that I could burn to a CD. And in fact, I'd love to fix this problem, but I can't.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a car like, you know what? I want to paint it. I would love to do that. Like, I'm going to paint it. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be the color I want. Nice. Take care of it. I feel like that'd be fun. So I'm going to look into that, try and do something with that. I don't know. It's so hard, though, because I don't have a garage. Or even if I bought one, it's like, I don't know, 300 feet that way or something. And it's inconvenient. Like right now, my car's like fairly dirty because it's like, I guess I could take 30 minutes to go drive it to a gas station, vacuum it out, and come back. That's not a great use of time. So it's just like, I'll get around to it, but I think I'd like to actually spend some time maybe looking into it.
I've always wanted to have a hobby that's kind of... I honestly, I just like want to have like a good hobby that's like building something, you know? But I don't know what that would be.
Did you listen to last week's podcast? One thing I want to do is like do like cosplay stuff. I feel like that'd be fun. Like build like a suit of armor for something. Don't know what, but I feel like that would be cool. Like making it with actual like materials and stuff and making it effective but cheap, and that's really interesting because even like going back to like Jack, like simple stuff like that doesn't look very technically hard, but in a way it was fun being like, how can I make this thing work and still look like the thing? Like it was a big deal to like make those speakers the way they were, or to be like, okay, what height does it need this to be? Like that was a fun like added layer on just being like, I could just, you know, buy a picture, put it on a stand, and it'd be the same thing. But the point is, no, it looks the same, or all the stuff that matters looks the same and stuff like that. I feel like that'd be fun. I don't know where to start. I think it'd be fun to go to a convention, but I don't know what, because I feel like, again, I'm not really into anything where I'd want to go to a convention and like stand in a line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they have something around Omaha that might be fun to go to. I don't know. Andrew might know.
Yeah.
Something that's like not a huge thing, like going to Comic-Con, but still like, hey, let's see if I like this.
Yeah.
So eventually I'd like to do that. Or go to like a YouTuber convention. That'd be fun. Just to like, I don't know, go to a panel. Like those are the kind of panels I would like to see. Like I don't particularly want to go to a coding convention, but for example, those panels are super interesting and super like helpful.
Useful.
Yeah. 'Cause it's like, here's this technology you haven't heard of. The point is I'm not going to teach it to you, but the fact is now you know it and understand how to go get it so you can make it part of your life. Like that stuff I appreciate. So I'd like to do some of those as well once I get through all my training.
If we want to talk about CS stuff, so I don't know, this is actually maybe not a good topic to talk about, but so this quarter I took this class about like research papers. We read a bunch of research papers about like systems and stuff, and that was super, super interesting, I have to say. There's like some of these research papers that they improve performance so much, and it's crazy because you like how much they can improve and how clever they are. They're so clever. Like there's this one paper, one of my favorites, like about super pages in operating systems, which is this is getting really technical and probably not interesting, but anyway, and the paper like improved they using super pages, they completely eliminated TLB misses, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
I can totally see why that's interesting though, because especially like if you're heavily in that, and then someone comes in like, hey, I've already done all this work for you. It's like, yes, like I'm the same way. Like if I go to like coding or like video editing to like discover like, oh, a library or just a program that just does the conversions and it just works. It's insane. How is everyone not doing this? Like, how is it so hard for me to find this info when this guy solved it already?
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. But I could totally see that being really interesting.
It's just like, they're just so clever. I'm just like, how does anybody come up with that solution? Because it's such a clever solution. But they're really fun to read.
Because you like the underlying like OS.
Yeah.
Like stuff. Like hardware at all?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know as much about hardware, so.
Because I could see that's very much the same on like a technical level, like or a physical level. Like, I remember like we did a whole class, not a whole class, but on in like my Boolean logic course, not Boolean logic, like circuit logic. That one of the big issues is multiplication is actually very easy to do for a computer, but addition's hard because of all the carrying.
Yeah.
So it makes it all dependent on each other, and like, yeah, you can do addition, but how can you do efficient addition? And that's actually incredibly difficult, and that's kind of cool seeing like the same thing where it's like it's a clever way of doing all these operations. Like when you do addition, what can you do in parallel and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, that's so neat. I'm glad I didn't have to figure it out. But or I remember,
I know in like my compilers class we were talking about optimizations that they can do for your code, and how instead of doing, I mean, I guess they don't do this a lot now because like arithmetic has gotten pretty cheap, but they used to like do bit shifting instead of, actual operations because that's so much quicker. And it's like how do you know to like bit shift and then add 4 or like then add 2 or something versus just doing the normal. It was interesting.
Yeah, I totally see that. And it's like, it's all hidden. That's cool. It's like, you don't have to worry about, it doesn't have like a degrading in performance. It doesn't have like, oh, you have to be careful not to do this. It's like, it just works. And it's
actually,
like, it's cool.
A really interesting paper we read was this one about how threads can't be implemented as a library. And it showed how like it was paper written like 10 years ago, but how the C compiler or C++ compiler would like actually generate incorrect code from a multi-threaded library, even though your source code was correct. And it was really cool. Because the compiler didn't know that you were multi-threading because threads can't be implemented as a library. It was a really good paper.
That's cool. And I feel like I like that technical stuff in programming, like actually learning. Because I like programming because it's just like, it's more about thinking about how to do something, like algorithms in your head.
Yeah.
And that's like unlimited. Like there's no physical thing you're tied to. Like if you can always come up with a smarter idea like that. Or like, it's weird that you can like mathematically prove a concept like that, where it's like, oh yeah, that could probably be, yeah. But then actually like, no, here is the proof on why not. Like that's cool.
I'm taking an algorithms class next.
How is that?
Well, I don't know yet. It's going to be what I'm taking when I go back.
I feel like that's one of the bigger classes, though, for if you ever want to get like a heavy programming job as algorithms and stuff. Or like if you want to be like more of an architect versus just like a simple in and out IP programmer or something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been doing that web development and that's completely different. Because like it's weird because you're used to like Java and C being better at programming than you are.
Yeah.
And it's completely the other way around. Like I'm reading the tutorial, it's like, you can do it A or B. A has these advantages, B has these advantages. Why do they both exist? Because people disagreed. And guess what? And then you can do C. C sucks, but we have to support it because for some reason this company just doesn't want to give it up. And it's full of stuff like, yeah, we all know this is objectively bad. It has to do it. Or like just how much your browser is just like, it's just raw chaos and it just tries to make something out of it.
Yeah, that's what I thought was so interesting when I learned about it, how your browser, like your HTML does not have to be correct. Like it just, yeah,
it will always render basically. Or like JavaScript, it's like it has to, like JavaScript basically has to always resolve to something. A lot of that doesn't make sense, but it has to resolve to something. And I don't know, there's so many cool things. Like the big thing that got me in JavaScript is you can pass functions as like an argument. Yeah. So you'll instead have like these weird like partial functions that just spit out other functions to be consumed by other functions. So it reads weird, but it's like super efficient. So you just have, instead of having like a, I don't know, like having to always declare your for loops, you just make like a loop function and then you put your function in the loop function and it loops that function over everything. Like but it's not like an iterator. It's just like, it's weird. It's crazy. Or it's just like how many things are like, you just write JavaScript and just like, when you have this command, it's called a promise. You just send it out there. It will come back someday. It may or may not resolve. We don't know. It's just all chaos on chaos. It's just such a different style of programming compared to like Java, where Java's like has very strict, understandable rules. Like it was crazy how much, like when I first started learning JavaScript, even back in like college, like I was like, I hated the idea of like types in programming, and then I went to JavaScript and like everything's just a variable. How am I supposed to like, can I print it out? No. That's what I find out. We don't find out until you run it. And it's like, why is that an array? This makes no sense. But then I remember I hated it in like my CS1 course. It's like, what's a Boolean? What's false?
Yeah, it's crazy thinking about like my first CS class that I took and how I remember my first CS class, I had a hard time understanding what a class was. And I was like, I just don't understand what is a class. And like now, that's such a simple thing. Yeah.
And now I've like swung back like completely opposite way where I'm just like more object-oriented programs. Like I want that. Or like, I think the big thing was I took a class that was all about like computer theory, I think it was called. And it was a bunch of stuff with like church and Turing and stuff like that. So like a big one was like a Turing machine, which you can use to prove like what a computer can do, right? And a lot of that was like, that's when I realized like we had to basically simulate a Turing machine, like actually simulate an actual one. So it had like a tape and all that. And it was like, man, this is so much easier if I make like a cell class and then I have a tape reader class that like has an array of cells and a pointer. It's like, that's when like it all clicked for me, I think. Whereas before it's like, nah, one file. Yeah. That and now the fact that I have to support code that is literally like on one massive file that was written in like 2006. And it's like, oh.
I actually, one time there was this person who, like, she wasn't a CS person, but she had to write some sort of like Python code. And she was like, oh, can you help me debug it? Because I don't know what's wrong with it. And I looked at it and it was like, I felt really bad because because I looked at it and I'm like, I had a hard time debugging it because it was just so incorrect. like I don't know, there's like the syntax, it had no like indentation or syntax or anything, and I was like, I mean, I get it because you aren't a CS person why you wrote it that way, but this is really hard. I guess it's just thinking of all those things that used to be so difficult or that I didn't understand.
What are your big pet peeves when programming with someone?
Oh, comments.
Comments?
Because I have a, I don't want to go too far into it, but I like to comment like everything.
I like to comment a lot.
I like to comment a lot. I think just comments, even just comments to break up the code, to be like, this is, even if it's obvious what the code is doing, to be like, this is like a new section of the code. And like, but I like a lot of comments, and I have gotten into disagreements with people about they didn't want to add as many comments.
Who does that? I understand not commenting, but who actively is like, we need less comments?
Yeah.
Everyone I'm sure is like, I have self-documenting code. No, they don't. It never is. Like, I'll do like self-documenting code, and that's like hard, and that's not like sometimes, most of the time you can't even get that. But like, most of the time it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So I think comments is something I definitely disagree with. Oh, I think also variable names. I generally like to have, even though I write a lot more stuff in like C, I like to have descriptive variable names, because there's been several times where I've been like coding with someone else, and we're like, oh, we need a short variable name because that's what you do in C. And then we forget what it stands for because it's an acronym or something, or it's an initialism. And it's like, I would just rather type a longer name and know what it is.
We have so many of those at work in Cache. It's actually like a huge problem because they don't make any sense whatsoever. And like, they're almost like hilariously so. Like, for example, Ellie, we had one fail today. Can you tell me what this routine called? It's called butt poo. BUTPOO. No idea what that does, but someone named it that.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many. At least put a comment in about what this does, and just like, whereas like, I'll have 5 words in my variable. Or like Java docs. Java docs are amazing. I just want those everywhere.
Well, especially with something like Eclipse. Eclipse will just fill it in for you, so you don't have to type the first couple characters.
Yeah, and I don't understand people who don't do Java docs, because like, you'll see them, like, I see you reading them all the time, but you don't realize you're hurting someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it doesn't come up with that much. Like, you probably only see like 10% of all Java docs or something. But I'm all about that, and I'm like all about putting that HTML in my Java docs, so it's like bold, italicized, indents, just what looks nice. Yeah, I'm all about that. So
yeah, what are any other things?
I could say some. I think. Let me think. So like, I know I like comments. Particularly, my commenting style is I like to go through and I will almost like write pseudocode with comments, where it's like, I'm going to do this. Yeah, that way I have like almost an interface to work with, where it's like, I know this comes here, do. Yeah. Anything I can pull out of a function, I do, just again, because I like having concepts. And I go back and forth with this a lot because I don't know what my team likes and all that. But I like when I can just like read, like have a function that's like 6 lines, and you just like do this. And like, if you really want to know what that does, go into it. But I almost like having too many classes, and I feel like that's kind of annoying, because I think that's what gets stressful for other people, because they see like you have 20 files if you do too many. It's like, yes, I understand this looks bad, but once inside, you're only going to see like 2, because it all collapses.
I feel like that's always what gets me, is that's the way I want to code, and then it's always like, oh, but I really need to finish this, so we're just gonna... Because my compilers class this quarter was like that, where most of the classes I take grade you on coding style, but this one did not. And so they were open. They're like, we're not going to grade you on style. So I'm like, well, I really need to like finish this, and I want it to work. So let's just make like a 50-line function that works, because I was short on time.
Big one is assert statements, how you phrase like the comment that goes with them. Because so many people are like, basically, assert 1 equals 1. And comment, it should work. And then you have to go fix it. It's like, why should it work? Yeah. Variable A should be 5. It's like, I get why, but now I have to change. It's not 5. How do I fix it? Why is it not 5? That's a big one. Whereas I tried to like write it out and all that.
You know what actually I got changed about was, I used to always be one of those people who puts the brackets on the same line of like an if statement. And then I took a class, my operating systems class, but they were very strict. And they're like, all brackets have to go on a new line. And now, I gotta say, I kind of prefer my brackets on the new line.
I keep them on the same line.
That's the way I always did it. And then until I had that class where they were so strict about it. And then now it's like a habit. And yeah,
that's fine.
I always put them on the new line.
For me, it's like, I also love using shortcuts. Like I know so many shortcuts in Eclipse that I remember like I'd like code with people and they're like, I don't know what you're doing, because I'm like, what is it? I'll do like, okay, I need to fix a test. Let's say I'm in class A and then I need to go back and fix class A's test. So that's a alt left click to go back, fix, refactor, alt shift R, enter, put a comment, alt shift X, wait a second, T, runs all my tests. And they're like, what did you do? Because it just looks like I was like, random comment, tests are just running suddenly. But I'm like, I need that, because like I just want to cut out all that minutia, you know.
I felt very proud of myself actually this quarter, because for my compilers class, I always had to like run my compiler and then like compare the output of it against the sample. And so I wrote this like, it was a really simple script, but I like actually wrote a script to do all of that, and it was like so nice to not have to like run my test and then run their test and then do a diff check and then like do this.
Yeah. I know for me, I wrote a thing that would like deploy our code to like our test servers, because it used to be like a really annoying process that took like 10 minutes, and I cut it down to like 2. And it's surprisingly hard to get people to use this.
Yeah.
But you had to get over with hump, and it's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because like I was like really proud of myself, just because I feel like it made me feel like very much like a real programmer. That's like what a real programmer would do. And like obviously when you're first starting out in CS, you don't know how to like do scripting, so you would never do that. And I'm like, wow, I've like hit the point where I'm like, I can do stuff to make my life easier.
I have a Java project I'm kind of working on. It's a long process, but one of the things I'm trying to learn is automation for like video production. For that same reason, because I know it can be done. Like I just want to make a folder where I can just like dump all 3 podcast files into, and that guarantees by tomorrow it will be in my editor, all processed and ready for editing. Just because like, yeah, like I deal with this so much every time. Yeah. So when I cut it out, be nice. So yeah. I'm trying to think if I have any other styles. If you asked me after a code review, I'm sure we'd have so many more.
Yeah, I know.
You know, because like there's certain times, or like you said, you hate when people like touch your PC.
Yeah, I hate when
especially
people
like
touch my computer. That's a big one. I really hate when people touch my computer, and because I feel like your computer is a very personal thing, like your laptop, and people should know not to touch it. And I really hate when someone's like, "Oh, what if you do this?" and then they just like type on your keyboard. I really do not like that.
I like purposely like when I'm like working with someone, I'll like hold like a pen to like point, because I don't want to touch the screen.
Yeah, I
don't want to be that guy who's like there.
Well, especially I hate it too. This is the thing. I hate it because sometimes I've had it before. People do it and they just have like really greasy fingers, and then they get like grease all over my computer. Not that my computer's that clean, because I eat in front of it a lot of the time, but at least it's my own grease.
Oh, easy one. Read your error messages. I feel like that's the most annoying thing.
Yeah.
Is like, especially in like college, where I'd watch people go to like the TAs, and it's like, did you read the error message? It's telling you what is wrong. That is what it's for. It's like, nah, you can tell they didn't. Just
yeah.
Like, that gets me a lot.
Sometimes I actually wonder, because I feel like I've always been one of those people who like I really try to figure it out myself before I go to the TA, and then I like go to the TA and I'm like, I think a lot of people just like literally come here without trying to figure it out. But at the same time, they probably save a lot of time, because they like don't waste all this time trying to figure it out by themselves. And I don't know. Sometimes it's frustrating, because I'm like, man, like I really tried to figure it out, and like I came in and like had all of these like other tests that I did, and someone else was like, it doesn't work, help me.
I mean, I get it why it's annoying, because like right now I'm doing that Ruby on Rails, and as part of that I had to set up my like environment, and as part of that it's like I have bare bones Eclipse, so a lot of stuff I took for granted, because I work like in a work ecosystem where they have like grown this awesome ecosystem for years, and like with people who are professionally amazing at it. I just have to sit down and be like, oh, I guess that save on like, I have a thing where it's certain formatting we have, and when you save, it formats everything. So like you could just say, okay, for an if statement, brackets on the next line, and even if you don't do it, it would fix it for you. That's not automatic.
Yeah.
And it's like, sit down, figure out how to do that. It's like, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so annoying having to like actually build that up yourself. I'm sure it's making me a better programmer, but like I'm not looking forward to having to do my own like dependencies and managing that with like Maven, because I know that's just like
I can tell you about that. I had to do that.
That's a huge headache, and I just know it's coming.
I have
and I'm
experience with that.
Yeah, but like I don't look forward to it. Like it'll teach me how it works, but I'm just like, oh, I don't want it. Which that's why I love the whole JavaScript class, because now it feels like I understand web stuff now. I'm like, I can send an AJAX request that will come back and stuff, and I get how it works.
See, that's what sometimes I feel like I'm missing thus far, is because like none of my classes are meant to teach you like a language or like a tool. They're just meant to teach you like concepts.
Yeah.
And so even though I've coded in C a lot, I still feel like there's stuff that like I don't feel like I'm an expert C coder.
Like I feel like I'm really weak on the command line.
Yeah, I'm
like,
really weak on the command line. I always have to look stuff up for the command line.
I'd say I remember the grep command 50% of the time.
Yeah, I always forget.
And that's a huge command.
Every single time I grep, I always forget the recursive R.
Especially because you do it in Unix. Mm-hmm. I have Windows, and I generally do Unix because my Git bash is Unix. My website is Unix. I feel like there's something else that's Unix. But Windows isn't that. And it's always like, I can't remember how to list the files in the folder. But I also forget I can hit tab and it'll autofill. So I'm just like, I'm lost. So I literally can't navigate the file structure. Like there was like a 20-minute thing where I couldn't remember how to switch drives. Like to go from my C drive to my D drive. It's like, I know it's the letter, and there's like, maybe I'll put a slash, and maybe I don't need the colon. I couldn't figure it out. And I wasted so much time just on that.
Yeah.
But the answer was, it was like I had to go into MS-DOS like normal, and then I had to just like type the letter and a colon. And that was the answer, not just the letter, then a slash, not CD it. It's just, it was so frustrating because I just feel like I'm stupid.
I know. I feel like, I always feel like I'm weak on the command line because I don't know. I always feel like that's one of the things that Stack Overflow makes me feel bad about because you go on there and everybody's like, well, of course, you just type all these commands. And I'm like, I would not know any of those commands. I know my basic, commands to get around, but. Well,
I know, like, I'll help someone, like, solve all these problems, like, Git, which I can understand. And then he's like, okay, yeah, so can you just open up that file from the bottom? It's like, I can cat it.
Yeah.
That's the one I know. The answer is tail. I learned that. But it's just like, that's such a fundamentally easy one. But yeah, I feel like I'm really weak there. But I feel like it's something people expect you to know, but more specific, it's like, why would I know that?
Well, and it's always stuff that you use like on a rare occasion. Like LS, I use that a lot. But then I'm like, okay, I need to list hidden files. What is the tag to list the hidden files? And then I think it's like -A or -L. I can't remember.
I think the dude I know works is LS-LR.
Something like that.
I don't know. I should know it. I don't.
But it's like you use it so rarely, but it's like you use it rarely enough that you don't remember it, but enough that you like should remember it. But yeah.
Do you have anything like that in Java?
I don't know. I haven't done anything in Java.
I guess you haven't done it in Java. You've been in C.
I do a lot of C++. Where so it's been a while since I've coded in C++, but I had to do my compiler in C++, and I found myself a lot of the time just like without even realizing it, just coding in C. Like I just like kind of would be like, oh yeah, I need to write this code, and be like, oh wait, that's in C, not C++, which it still worked.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I really should use. I always forget in C++ to use like the iterators and stuff like that.
Do you like C++?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about doing a desktop application, and on one hand, I'd like it to be fast, and I feel like to do that, it'd be C++. But then it's like, one, it's really only like native to like Windows and like Linux, I guess. Or, I guess on top of that, you have to compile it for every system. Whereas Java's like slower, but then I can just like, here's the file, you run it. And I don't know. But also, I don't want to go like learn a whole new language just to do that. So I don't know. I just need more time. I took tomorrow off so we can hang and do some fun stuff. Do that short. Been getting into like budgeting a bunch as well. I read a book on that.
Cool.
Yeah, running a bunch. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, but I don't know what it was. I didn't actually keep track of my podcast topics this week because I'm like between. I'm using like a new program to help manage my time. It's called Todoist. So I use like Workflowy, Todoist. And I've been trying to move podcast topics to there kind of, but I haven't. So yeah, I don't know what else. I don't really have anything. You got anything?
I know I had a lot of lists.
We need to do the thumbnail. I'd like to do another podcast tomorrow so we can get two of you in, and then I have a lot of stuff to edit. Because again, I'd like to stay ahead of the podcast, but it's hard, especially if we're going to be doing extra stuff. I think I'm going to stream OSRs again on Saturday. I'm going to go do 5Ks. You don't know what that means, but that's a whole endeavor. It's like the OSR's horde mode, and they have like a very difficult boss at the very end. Yeah. And if you wipe, it really sucks. So, but I think you'd especially like OSRs because they're coming out with mobile. And I feel like that's the big thing where it's like, I think that's going to be its big break, if it hasn't already, where it's like, you can just hop on your phone and chop trees, but then if you want to sit down and go raid, you can.
Yeah, I think that'd be really good.
So,
I mean, I could talk about balloons. I've been into that.
You want to talk about balloons? This is your one time to talk about balloons.
So
Ellie is like,
I'm really into like balloons tower defense.
Since like the original, I feel like back when it was like just the they had like all the spin-off games because it wasn't tower defense wasn't like the first big hit. Yeah, so they had like the breakout ones.
Yeah, and then tower defense was like a spin-off, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like I've been into it, especially because Bloons Tower Defense 5 was a mobile game, and I just got it on my phone, and I had a bunch of time when I was in college just to like play it here and there, and it was so perfect on mobile. But I got like really into it, and like I knew all of the levels and like exactly where like different balloons came and all the strategies, and I had everything unlocked. But they released Bloons Tower Defense 6 last week, and so I've been playing that. It's good. It's okay. I want to reserve my judgment because I have to say right now I like 5 better than 6, but I think that maybe part of that's just because I haven't unlocked all of the stuff. I also think 6 is harder. Like, I think that, you know, the difficulty is just genuinely harder. I also think I have some complaints about it though, because so 6, I feel like 6 was meant to be played on like an iPad or a larger screen, and I'm just playing it on my phone. But I just feel like the artwork is. Like, it's just harder to place towers, and I think, too, because it's a new game, they have some bugs where sometimes your towers don't place correctly, and that's really frustrating, but I'm sure they'll fix that, but it's fun. I mean, it's fun to be unlocking stuff again, but I was so into 5, and I just knew everything about 5, so it's kind of weird coming back to a new game.
Games like that make me wonder why people play, like, bad mobile games.
Yeah.
It seems like that, like, this is, like, a very solid package.
Yeah, it was a really good mobile game.
Compared to, like, I know, like, you said you, like, tried Simpsons, like, tapped out for a while, and it's like, I don't know, how would you describe it compared to the balloons? It's like...
It's, like, fun for the first while, but then afterwards, you're just, like, none of the stuff that you get means anything. And, like, in balloons, there's always a sense of, like, progress. Like, you can always, like, unlock this next thing, and, like... Yeah.
Or like, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand. Like, there's 2 things that got mobile releases that I never considered. Like, one was Fortnite, which I can kind of see why they would do that. But I assume that, like, even if it costs money, it's like that's kind of ridiculous to see. Like, even like you look at balloons, that looks neat. You understand that, but then you look at something like it looks like the Xbox version. It's like my phone can run that. Like, I don't play it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is they released Final Fantasy 15, like the full game. And as a pocket version. Now, again, obviously they changed the combat and stuff because it's a phone, and you just can't do the same things like mechanically with a controller. But that's like a beefy mobile game. Like, that's really beefy. It's like, why would you go play like an unsocial, very shallow game? You know. So, or even I'll throw Jamie under the bus. I was like, she wanted to know like what running app I use. Like, oh, I use this one. It's like, oh, but that's $2. It's like.
Yeah, I think
it's $2.
I have to say, Bloons Tower Defense 5, I think was like $7, but it was so worth it. I have put hundreds of hours into Bloons Tower Defense 5,
which probably isn't bad because it's a mobile game. Like, you know, it's you have it around. It's not like you're sitting down like, gonna go grind on balloons for 8 hours today.
But yeah, it's just like a perfect game to play like while you're waiting at the airport or.
You should try it. Can you record from your phone?
Probably. I don't know.
You should try that. If you could stream balloons. You have like a very tight niche.
I actually thought about it. I was like, if you wanted to do a balloon speed run, how would you do it? Because you'd want to put all your towers at like the front of the map so you could like kill all the balloons the quickest. But you definitely have to change your strategy from what I normally do. But I was like, I wonder.
You should do it because it makes the game. It brings so much like life back to the game because it's like you basically need to get to the point where you would. Like, if one more balloon came out, you'd fail. But that's the only way to get 100%. Like, or like, I would get to the point, like, I assume you can sell towers and stuff. So, like, you'd have to do stuff like on the last wave, as soon as the last balloon goes by, start selling your towers so you can put more at the end and just crazy stuff like that. And you like, break out this grass. It seems like it'd be a lot of fun to, like, route that out.
Well, and I was thinking, like, what would the rules be? Because, you know, you have all your unlocks where you can start with, like, extra starting cash. And would you be allowed to use those? Or would you have to do, like, vanilla without all of your unlocks?
Well, they're different for, like, percentages because then you could also race, like, I don't know what the time is, like speed run to be like max completion or something.
Yeah.
Or to beat all the maps, like Like I've been watching, like some people do that. Like I think did I send you the one where the dude plays a speed run of the entire Mass Effect trilogy?
No, I don't think
in one sitting. Or I saw one. There was like a dude who's running. I'm watching right now. It's like an 18-hour speed run of where he platinums FF13.
Yeah, you sent me that.
Which on one hand makes me want to play because it's like he did it in 18 hours, and I already got the big chunk of it out. So surely I can't have that much more. But makes me really want to play that game.
I was watching, and we talked about it a little bit, the Mass Effect speedrun. And I thought that was really interesting because, like, some games, you can totally see how you would speedrun it. But, like, Mass Effect, I was like, how could you, like, what could you do faster? But some of the stuff they did, like throwing the grenade at themselves just to make them run. That was cool. Clever. Yeah.
I don't know if you're watching the PC version, but I know like maybe it was Mass Effect 2. They have like a logic mouse or something, which is like free rolling. So what they do is they just like they know where to hold it and they just roll it and they put speech accept on that. So they just like drill through cutscenes like
yeah.
And they talk about like, yeah, it would be faster to go say no here, but there's no way we're going to catch that. So they have to like take certain like entirely different paths because it's faster to get to the dialogue with the worst option and deal with the consequence than it is to like stop.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool. Or it's all the stuff that you don't think about when you're playing the game because you don't need to optimize to that level, but they do.
It's just really interesting to learn like a lot of mechanics about the game. Like I was actually watching a Half-Life 2 one since I started playing Half-Life 1 and there's just a lot of mechanics like, oh, like this doesn't trigger until this character is like in this specific spot, so we're gonna push them over there, or you can like teleport the characters by like throwing a book
that's
in
the
their
big one
head.
I thought where it's like you could glitch them out, but it's like it looks so silly because they just take a book and they hit them on the head and it makes them teleport around and it's like so funny.
Yeah
I love that. Or I just like the point where it's like they've really pushed it to the limit, like the boat section where it's just like one like they can go too fast and then you start you are fighting loading zones and they talk about like you need to get it perfect, and when you get it perfect it's just basically like you just kind of like glitch, you're at the next loading zone waiting, glitch, next loading zone, but you have to hit perfect. It'd be really good to see like a tool assisted speedrun of that, where it's just like perfect. That'd be cool.
I agree. Speedruns are fun. I really like them. There's some of them that are maybe like not as interesting just because the game isn't like, it's really cool when you have speedruns when you can like break the game but in an interesting way.
Like the one I bring up is like Ocarina of Time is a lot of good ones like that, but there's other ones like I want to say like Pokemon Blue or something where you can just break the game fundamentally, or like they had an issue where like for the longest time every speedrun is based off the in-game timer, and it's nice because then you could just like pause the game and leave and stuff like that, and then someone found a way to break the timer and to turn it in at like -1 or something. It's like, well, now we can't use that anymore. Thanks. Like, I hear all the time, like someone will find a glitch, like, thanks for finding this glitch. Like they'll do like, oh, we thought these cutscenes were unskippable, and they would use them for like bathroom breaks. Well, then someone found like a skip for skip the cutscene. It's like, good job, but it's like all at the same time now running the game is so much more annoying. So
I watched Resident Evil 7 speedrun. That was interesting.
Did you watch the one from Awesome Games Done Quick? Is it the one where they sync up the face cam or something? Yeah, I have not watched it because I want to play it, but I heard that one's really good. Have you ever done a speedrun? Like actually sat down, like I'm going to do one?
No, because I feel like I'm not good enough at any game to do one.
You just got to do one. It's neat. Like even if it's like something you like, don't look at the guy, just run one. Like I did Dark Souls. I got like an hour and 20 minutes.
That's crazy.
I did. There's like a whole system.
I think of myself playing Dark Souls. I never finished Dark Souls. I think I kind of like fell out of it after the Duke's Archives because I was just like frustrated, and that was after spending like how many hours in it already.
Well, I know like he would talk about, the guy who had the world record would talk about how as he was doing it, it's like, oh, I'm going to do a run today. I'm okay, I'm going to do another one. And they got to the point where it's like he could get it down to like 55 minutes. So he's like, oh, I'm going to go beat the game 3 times today. And it's just like, damn, like it's on such a huge level. And I remember I got that level where we had like Super Mario Bros. 3. I had it for like DS or something, and it was literally that where it's like I'm gonna try and beat it. Like I want to say I could beat it in like 25 minutes, and it was just weird where it's like I'm gonna go play that. Well, I don't have to go anywhere for another 30 minutes. I guess I'll do it again.
I remember that was
weird.
We didn't speedrun it, but I remember one time we like played through the Halo 3 campaign really fast, and that was really fun because the first time I played through it, I mean, it took me like 20 hours because I was like, I want to explore every single spot, and it was like hard, and then we blasted through it in like a couple hours.
The good ones are RPGs, like not even speedrun, but like an objective-based run. Like I talked about before, but like I loved going through like a Skyrim where it's like I'm going to be an ancient Nord. I'm only going to wear Draugr armor, and that's it. I have a battle axe. So all of a sudden, it's like loot was like so different because like I don't need to pick up armor. I don't need to loot that. I'll run around my horse and I kill people. It was like, oh, this completely changed the game for me. Same like Dark Souls. Like you start looking at it in different ways. Or like I've loved watching the speedruns like Final Fantasies because like there's all these mechanics you didn't realize were in the game, and they just like heavily abuse them. And it's really interesting seeing like the stuff they do. So there's some really crazy ones. So you should do one, but next time you're on the podcast. Not next time, you hopefully are on the next one. But yeah, I think it'd be really interesting. I did Bayonetta one. That was fun. I got sub 3 hours.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, that was fun. And again, it completely changes how you like tackle the game. I'd like to do a Halo one, maybe Halo 3 or something. Things always feel like I'm good at that game, then I realize I'm not when I go back and play it.
I feel like
I'm not good as I remember.
Yeah, I feel like I've like lost all my skill. Like I feel like on the last level Halo, there's that jump you can do to get up to the back, and I used to be able to do that really well, and then I think now like it takes me forever to do it, or I can't do it all the way. I have to do it halfway.
Yeah, but I also feel like I can never play that level and not do that jump because going up that tower sucks.
Once you know about that jump, you have to always do it because it sucks to go up that tower.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me wish I could like forget about that so I could just do it normally. But at the same time, it sucks. What
other skips are like? I feel like Left 4 Dead was kind of like that, where once you know about like being able to skip some of the crescendos or like to make them easier, you just can't.
Yeah, or there's certain strategies. The one I think of is on I don't know the level. It's the first one level with the tank door. It's not the one we could always use on Blood Harvest. I want to say it was Death Toll.
Yeah.
It's a crescendo where there's a crane.
Yeah.
And there's an easy strategy where you just all hide in the crane, you melee, and you set the ground on fire. It's so simple.
Yeah.
But once you do it once, it's like, why would you ever do it any other way? You can do it 100% of the time. It's 100% consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
I remember when we were playing on Expert, when we would do Death Toll, we'd always like run back to the tank door on that church level.
Which is the refrigerator door that the tank can't break.
Yeah.
So on Expert, which is max difficulty, you just light the tank on fire and you just, no matter what happens, run back.
And it was just such a fail-proof way to get past the tank. But
I wouldn't say fail-proof.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say fail-proof.
Because that's the big thing.
Sometimes it did.
Where it's like we'd play with other people and we'd explain, just run back to the room.
And they wouldn't want to do it.
And you hear and you could see, in Left 4 Dead, you could turn on closed captioning. It was super useful because you could see the tank's growling around the corner.
Yeah.
But inevitably, you see the same thing. Francis, gunshots. And then you see maybe the tank growl, and then you see Francis go flying by you, and then Francis has gone down. It's like every time. And it's inevitably, it's because they got to turn around and shoot. And I get that's what the entire game has trained you to do.
But it's like you just run.
It's like, it's so easy.
I feel like that was a game that you and I knew really, really well. Like we knew all of the places to go where all of the doors were and the pills could spawn and everything. That was fun. I had a lot of fun playing that game.
It's the only time it makes me feel like I'm like a football coach. I wish I had a clipboard so I could throw it on the ground. You just run from the tank.
Yeah.
You had one job.
Or it's like the witch, where it's like if you get a witch and you're on Expert, just walk around the witch. Don't. And it's like, no, I'm gonna try and crown her. I can do it. And inevitably they can't do it, and they end up going down.
That was good times with that game. Yeah. That
was really fun.
I'm trying to remember if there's any other game like that where it had that same emotion where it's like, you have what? Just go off on someone. It was so frustrating, but I love playing it. So.
Yeah, that's one of the games I'm proud to have 100% of the achievements in, because I feel like it took me a long time to get them, and they were really frustrating and annoying.
There's sometimes I get like that in the Destiny raids.
Yeah.
Where I'll be I'll go through the achievements when we'll do a big platforming section, and I'll go back. You see all these platformers, all these Halo games, Destiny 1, Destiny 2, and it's you can't jump. And it's not even hard. You have 3 tries. You're 100. You just got to jump over a gap. And then it's, I died. I'm just it's not that hard. That I think that's one that gets me really the same itch where it's just so, it should be so easy, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we should end this because I think we're already a little over time.
Okay.
I got this, but it's been fun. Hopefully we'll do another one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just us cram more in. We have to do the thumbnail. I have an idea for this one, but yeah, if you have thumbnail ideas, you should send to me.
Okay.
I guess one thing we could say is you helped out with, I want to say 9. It's the one where we have our heads as golf balls. You took the photo.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I just ran
it at Stanford.
Yeah. I don't know. We never called that out. I like the thumbnails. I care a lot about the thumbnails. It never comes up, but because I've spent a lot of time on them. But to everyone else, oh, it's a neat picture. It's one of the things I love actually showing off is look at the podcast thumbnails. In this professional player, it looks good, and I can't say that about all my thumbnails, but I really like those. So we're gonna take a picture, and then we're gonna hang out.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I'm Grant.
I'm Ellie.
We'll be back again in 2 weeks. Bye.